right, let's do it.
All right, let's do
Let's do
it.
it.
All right, Philosophy Club, we're back again. Welcome to
Let's
Triba.
go.
Let's go. Let's go. It's big brain time, ladies and gentlemen. We got Garrett Daly again. Ion Enterprises. He is our chief philosophy officer and the best, I want to say the best damn pitch deck creator in the world. Pardon my R-rated language. It is kind of a PG-13 plus community, so I think I'm allowed to swear
Yeah,
like once per stream.
it's PG-13 for language. It's
For language,
that
yeah.
I can't not swear in Philosophy Club, but
But we're back. This is
just
where we talk about business, brand, philosophy, everything that applies to the big picture, the mindset, mentality of being an entrepreneur and understanding the world around you, because you got to zoom out and look at things from a bird's eye view and also have your own center grounded. We talked about that a lot yesterday. You guys can go check out the VOD on our YouTube, and we got some clips up already on TikTok and Instagram. But if you aren't in the community, go to discord.gg/triba or go to our website, actually. Triba.community is live, and we got some of our service providers on there, as well as some really cool stuff about Triba Gold, which gives you access to, design and consulting and hosting, a lot of different services. People like Garrett himself will help you build out a pitch deck for your startup or your business, so you can go get some investors. He's helped a lot of people raise money with those pitch decks, and I've seen how awesome they are. So shameless plug for Garrett's pitch decks. And with that, we'll jump into actually hearing him talk about brand and what it means, and look at some today.
speaking of which, so fun news. I've not technically helped a lot of people raise money yet because I've only been doing pitch decks for less than a year. However, the first one has raised some money. So
Hey yo.
that's not true because I did help Idea Market raise, but although that was a collaborative deck. But yeah, no. So one of my clients, Compound Capital or Compound Digital Asset Management is the technical name of the company, is not a hedge fund, but it's basically a hedge fund for crypto. And Compound, we finished their deck up at the end of November, the beginning of December. They have raised already 500 grand for their hedge fund. And in his words, I didn't even try that hard
I
yet.
did see that
So
post.
yeah, so that's a big deal. That's the first time
That's
I've
pretty
been able to
awesome.
like directly correlate design with a business result. So my
I don't
life gets
know.
much easier now.
I would say, the business results for properly branding. I don't know, any
It
company that makes
it's the
money after you work on their brand and their design, I feel like correlates somewhat. I mean,
not yeah.
if
Well,
a
that's the problem. It's diffuse, right? So, for example, um, Apple is obviously a company that's well known for their design. If their design wasn't as good, they would be Microsoft, right? However, how do you correlate any specific design decision with any business result? You can't really. It's very hard to do. So it's hard. Like whereas
any
if I was
specific one. Yeah.
yeah, or in general, you can't say like what effect design had because it's impossible to tell. We know it had an effect, but we don't know what the effect was, right? Um, so like I think this is a salient point for people like anyone that's listening that's a creative at all. Um, if you have a guy who doesn't, yeah, I actually just talked to a guy who does email campaigns, right?
Hmm.
His name is Jan Koch. He's German, I believe, or somewhere from that part of Europe. But um, he, if he optimizes your email campaign and you make 50% more revenue from your email campaign, cool. It's very easy to say he did that, right? Design, I could design the shit out of your brand, right? But it's very hard to say, okay, well, maybe your sales guy made the money. Maybe
Right.
if you didn't have the design, you just wouldn't make any sales at all because your sales guy, like it would look like it's a 1996 website or something. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
very hard to directly correlate. But pitch decks are very easy, which I like. And so
Right.
the benefit is basically I expect him to clear 1 million, certainly within the next month or two. And then I can say, oh, our decks have raised 7 figures, right? And then I'll just keep a tally of all the numbers from everybody. And then I could just start saying 8 figures, 9 figures,
Yeah.
100 figures, right?
Yeah. A
Um,
hundred figures.
we'll get there. We'll get there. At any rate, so yeah, so let's see. We haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah, we have
Let's
before though. There's some
let's get some
clips
more people in
before.
here though.
There were some clips before of Garrett looking at car brands. What else do we do? Pizza. Pizza brands.
Pizza was the best one of
Pizza
all
was pretty
time. That was my
fun.
favorite. I
Dude,
don't
I
know
have
what
an
industry do we want
inordinate
to look
amount
at?
of tabs open right now in multiple different windows. I gotta fix this. Oof. Especially before I screen share. We're all gonna see some random stuff. All good things, all good things. Let's close out of Steam. All right. So, what should I share first?
Michelangelo, were you here the whole time? I didn't realize you were in here. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have notifications on
Yes,
so people join.
I did not make. I did not miss the pizza speech. Don't worry. That was the
Good deal.
that
Good
was the
deal.
core. Yeah, that was the core of your explanation. I feel.
That is that I still reference that to this day, though. That is the unbeatable business philosophy example so far. So, okay, let's see. What industries do we want to look at? Say some in the chat if anyone has any that come to mind.
Marketing.
Actually, can we look at the tech industry? That could be quite interesting. I'm
Yeah,
just
why
meeting
not?
tech startups lately.
Yeah, the likelihood of startups having a fleshed out philosophy on their website, I'm gonna say that's lower than 10%, but we can try. So if you want to pick a specific subset first, then we'll check that out. Let's see. I wonder, Sam, do you want to pull up Apple and see? I'm gonna also pull it
Apple's
up and see if
brand?
they have a. Well, yeah, I'm just curious. I bet they don't have any about stuff on their website, if I had to guess. Or maybe they have a corporate website somewhere, but let's see.
Yeah, here, let me screen share. And then you can just tell me where to go. Wait, where did it go? Screen share.
Apple values. Okay, that counts. So at the bottom of the first page, there is a large footer, and in the footer they have Apple values as a thing, which is, oh man, this is so satisfying to look at. This is so well built.
Apple leadership. Where's Apple values?
The right column, top right.
Ah, okay.
So I'm on accessibility. This isn't really a philosophy page. This is like this is kind of an abstract feature page. Education, environment, inclusion and diversity, racial equity and justice, supplier responsibility. None of those are really philosophy. Newsroom. Let's see Apple leadership. Maybe it's on. No, this is just a list of the people who are in charge of stuff.
These are just quotes.
Ethics and compliance. This is not.
Our
Business
education
conduct
story doesn't end
policy.
here. We need some dramatic music in the background, guys.
I'm gonna give them a D. I'm gonna give them a D for philosophy. This is like they have good brand. They don't have a clear philosophy on here at all. Maybe they do internally and it's just private. But certainly lacking.
I'd say their philosophy is capitalism.
That's everyone's philosophy is capital. You have a company that makes money. Your philosophy is capitalism. But that's your political philosophy, right? It's between people. So, okay. So yeah, we're gonna dip on that. Let's check out Microsoft.
Okay, Microsoft. Let's go.
I have lower expectations than Apple because this is, oh God, about Microsoft. So bottom in the footer, there's one about Microsoft. They actually somehow are learn about our values. God, this is the worst. Learn about our corporate values. Respect, integrity, accountability. Like what? These are
more like missing in action.
Yeah. I know. Scroll up in the hero section. Click that button. That's their actual values page, which is
okay.
3 layers deep and lacking.
It's deep,
bro. Lacking.
Can we get some "that's deep, bro" in the chat? We don't actually have one for that.
That is terrible. There's nothing like. This is actually the perfect example of what people normally do with values in companies is they write them, they put them on a website page, and they die. Right? Like
Yeah.
Bad.
How would you redo it? Like, how would you do it?
Well, first off, so I'm bringing my email list back, but one of the articles that I want to write about, something I found that I talk about a lot during sprints, is basically the word evaluate, meaning how we make, making decisions. We're evaluating something, has the word value in it, right? Values are not just something that you throw up on the website under like 3 layers of pages with some stock photos and then never talk about again. Values are how you make decisions, the end. That is how they work, right? The problem is that if you don't articulate your values, they can say that they use whatever the fuck, respect, integrity, and accountability as like decision-making tools. But the fact that these are not like fleshed out at all tells me that they don't. And what they actually value is something that is not listed here, which is probably like, profit, efficiency, high competitiveness, a bunch of other bullshit. And so that's the thing. It's like, if you were going to do this correctly, you would have more interesting values than these 3, right? Like that these mean nothing. They're so generic, right? You can find this copy probably on 10 other websites exactly like this, because it's generic. And that indicates they haven't gone in any depth with them. But if you're going to do it right, there's one of the things I've hypothesized this. I haven't really run with it yet. But you can imagine, with anything that you do in business, I would say values and pitches are both like this. Brand is also like this in some capacity. There are a series of levels of resolution, right? The one word value is the lowest level of resolution, right? That is the thing. It is correct. Like if, let's say we're Microsoft, our value is respect. The one word version of that is the lowest resolution, but it is the bucket. It holds all the other stuff in it. One of the things I do with my clients is after we do values in the first sprint, that's actually, we start with values because that's the most important thing to like aim everything, right? In the third sprint, we come back to values and build what I call axioms or value statements. A value statement, so they kind of did axioms with these little explanations of their values, but they're not done the way that I would do them. So typically what I do is come up with try to come up with a witty phrase or something clever that makes them really memorable, right? So let me find a good example from a client of mine of this that did them really well.
You just drop them in chat if you want me to look it up, or tell me the URL.
No, this is all in my Figma, so don't worry about that. But
Okay.
I'll read them to you. So one of the companies I'm working with right now is called Carwell Industries. It's 2 guys that have a company that does lighting and electrical solutions for all of the portfolio companies of a very large manufacturing company called Motion. Motion itself is a subsidiary of an even larger manufacturing company called GPC, which you've certainly seen GPC's logo before. And I know everyone here, whether you realize it or not, has used a product that Motion or GPC has been involved in, if not hundreds. Massive company. So they have an exclusive contract to do all of the factories that Motion works with, right? Their values are stewardship, uncompromising, knowledge, and selflessness. And the axioms for those are, for stewardship, enhance the ecosystem. Stewardship is interesting because it kind of means 2 things. They physically improve the spaces that they work in, but it's also an environmental thing because they're very much like, high efficiency LEDs and reducing energy costs and very green, right? Uncompromising, which means or the axiom for that is relentlessly pursue excellence. So they're super Alex, there's Alex and Dylan. Alex is kind of like the point man, and Dylan is more like the background guy. Alex is super type A. He's very much like efficient and aggressive and like very much like a get shit done right now kind of guy. So we have 2 parts of that kind of indicate what the value means. It's A, it's relentless, and B, it's excellence. He's relentless, but they're both him and Dylan are very much like super, super high quality, do all the work perfect the first time, right? Knowledge, the axiom is, if we don't know it, we will, which is, hey, we already know a lot of stuff, but we'll figure out whatever we have to do to solve the problem. And finally, selflessness, which is one team, one goal. And that means both between Alex and Dylan, as well as between Carwell, the company, and any of the people that they work with. They're working with them on the same page. And so you can see already from just this with, 4 values and no more than like 6 words attached to each of them. Um, there's a bigger picture painted here than what Microsoft did on this page, which is, say, really generic shit that if nobody uses this, nobody's going to care. It's not tied to anything meaningful. Whereas if Carwell stopped doing any of those things that I mentioned, you would immediately know, because a major, like an essential component of their business would be done incorrectly, right? If they're not doing stewardship, they're fucking their job up. If they're starting to compromise, they're not providing a high quality service. If they don't know stuff and they don't find it out, and they're not going to be able to work correctly. And if they're not acting selflessly, then they're not going to be the kind of people that get all this repeat business. So, which they do. They get tons of repeat business. They're phenomenal, right? Some of the best people I've ever worked with. I really like them. So you can see that's level 2 of resolution. There's another exercise that actually I did not come up with myself, but one of my clients, I think, pulled it in maybe from EOS, which is it's kind of like EOS is like Six Sigma or Lean or Agile. It's one of those organizational systems for like running a business in a standardized way. So they have this exercise that they did, which is basically I made my version of it, which I call the values in practice sprint, which I've not gotten to use this actually outside of with them. But basically, you can imagine 3 circles that include each other, right? There's a series of 3 rings. The inside ring is, what does this value look like in practice at the individual level? Meaning selflessness. How do we know if I'm doing it, right? Or, what was the other one? Uncompromising. How do I know if I'm not compromising, right? The second ring is the team level. How do we know if the team is not compromising, right? What does it look like when we're not compromising? And finally, with customers, how do we know when we're not compromising with customers, right? So I would say that's level 3 of resolution, because you can sort of see, okay, these actually are things that we use in action. These need to be tied to how we do things, right? But you can imagine other levels of resolution here. So another one that might be also level 3 is maybe a paragraph description of that. And maybe you did an exercise like this, and then that turns into the paragraph. You could imagine an article written on all the values. Like I've certainly, on my old blog, I've written about my 3 values. No less than, I've probably written no less than like 30 or 40 pages about them. From different angles. I reference them all the time because they're essential to my philosophy and how everything works. Mine are respectively truth, will, and love, right? Actually, this is a side note, and this is mostly for fun, but just because I happened to be working on this last night, I'll share with you there's this thing called the Tetractys, which is a Pythagorean. Sam, if you want to share, you can share your Discord screen. I just posted it in the co-working lounge. But this is a little bit of fun diversion. So the Tetractys is a Pythagorean concept about how the universe was made, which is basically a pyramid that starts with 1 dot, then it's 2 dots, then it's 3 dots, then it's 4. And this represents the nature of creation, right? There was singularity, there was the monad or the unmanifest Godhead or something. Then we have duality, then we have Trinity, then we have, quaternary paternity. I don't know, whatever 4 is. And so I was playing with this with some of the stuff that I had designed. Sam, can you pull this up? Is Sam there?
Yeah, I pulled it up on stream.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
Well, it's not on my screen share. It's on the stream.
Okay, cool. So anyway, I'll talk through it. So basically at the top, I have the ion symbol, which is all in one, as well as alpha, iota, omega, which is the basis of all my sprints. My sprints are literally called the alpha sprint, the iota sprint, the omega sprint, and the ion sprint. That second level is the one on the left. I did not come up with that. That is the symbol for chaos. I don't know who came up with that. I think it came from a fantasy book, but it's actually a very good symbol. I mean, really conveys something essential about chaos. Things are going in every direction. And then I made the one on the right based off of that as a symbol for order, because it's the opposite, right? And it's kind of cool because it comes together and it makes a shape out of it, like it's things forming order. That third row is 2 things. It's the values. So agape, aletheia, thelema, which are will, truth, and love, respectively. But the divine Greek forms of them. So like the love of God, the will, the truth of God, the will of God, or like, the universal love, truth, and will, right? And then behind that, you have the symbols that I actually came up with at the agency that will not be named to represent white holes and black holes. So I've been using that kind of weird yin yang symbol as a representation of like the universe and how it works. So the one on the left is the black hole, which is like, no, that's the white hole. Sorry. Things are coming out of it. It's chaotic. Love is expanding. It's being spread out. Love breaks structures. It doesn't have rules, right? Will, which is the black hole, is consolidating. It's organizing. It represents order. Will orders the world, right? It gives structure to things. And so truth is obviously both of these things, and it's yet a third thing because it combines both of them. So that's the white hole and the black hole symbol, which represents the entire loop of time through space. And the fourth row is the four games, which we've talked about in here before, but that's short, mid, long, and deep, respectively. So your physical, mental, and emotional state, the world around you, the story you tell yourself, your role, your goal, and the way that you relate to mystery, meaning, and metaphor is your deep game. So that I was playing with that last night. That was mostly as a way to kind of explain the values, but yeah, I use those like constantly because it's a decision making system, right? So with the values that I have, which I can share another graphic that I made to represent this, if I can find it. I have a folder for diagrams. Yeah, here we go. So this is the same, basically a similar concept. You can see this is basically neither, either, or both, which would be also maybe that fits in the four part of the tetractys, but everything, there's one of the things actually John helped come up with this. John G. Frey helped come up with this idea that the three values are a decision-making system, in the sense that if you ever have a problem that you don't know how to solve, you can go at the problem from the perspective of, okay, if I was doing the nicest, most compassionate, most whatever polite way to solve the problem, what would I do? And that would be the love answer. If you go at it from the other angle and say, what's the most efficient, effective way to get this done without regard for anyone's feelings, that would be the will answer. And if you look at where those both intersect, then you find the truth, which is you need a little bit of both. You can't just, the nicest thing you could do is do all your work for free, let people scam you, rob you, whatever. That's not a functional strategy unless your goal is different. But I don't personally want to get robbed all the time. And perhaps the most efficient thing you could do is like destroy the environment and bankrupt people and do all kinds of bad stuff. I don't think that's a good answer either. But if you take both of these things and balance them against each other, then you get the true answer, which is, okay, there's a way to do this without being an asshole, and there's a way to do this that works too, right? And so I think people tend to do one or the other, but that's kind of how I make decisions with my system, is like, okay, you need to weigh both of these things, right? You need to have some, you have to have a lot of concern for the way that you interact with people and maintaining relationships and being a good person. You also have to be able to get shit done. And sometimes those things come into conflict, right? Like the most efficient way to tell your client that their website sucks is to say, hey, this sucks, and whoever designed it is an idiot, and it's really ugly. Some people you can talk to like that, not all of them. And many people may not work with you if you tell them that, even though you're right. If you come in and say, oh my God, everything looks so great, oh wow, it's awesome, then they don't need you either, right? So there's a balance between these two things. So that's the way that I tend to look at it, at least in a business context. I have a lot more scope on that. But let's get back into websites. I think that was a long-winded answer to Bala's question. Obviously, he isn't here now. So
nice.
Who's next? Let's do Oracle. Oracle's notoriously fiendish company. Yeah, they don't have They have a why Oracle section. I'm not seeing a corporate responsibility. No, this is really no. This is an F. I don't see any philosophy stuff.
The Trust Center.
There's a page for company. Okay, maybe. Wait, let's see. So, Trust Center probably doesn't mean what we think it means. Executive leadership and corporate responsibility, corporate governance. No, yeah, F. They got nothing. They got nothing. Who's next? What's another tech company? AWS maybe, or Amazon. I'm not going to be able to find this because this is a sales website maybe, but let's see. These footers are evil. They're huge. Jesus.
Oh my gosh. There's
about
double
Amazon.
footers.
Yeah, it's a double footer. It's awful. Okay, here we go. Amazon. If you click, scroll up to the first footer, there's about Amazon. They've got our positions.
Wait, where? Oh, there we go.
Oh boy, this
What
is
we do?
This is a weird way to. Yeah. Now, who we are,
who
and
we
then
are.
our positions is what I'm looking at right now. So
Oh.
the federal minimum wage is too low and should be raised. Oh, I like that. That's good for them. We pay a starting wage of at least 15 an hour to all full-time, part-time, temporary, and seasonal employees with an average of 19 across the country.
Average of
Good for-
19?
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. That still seems pretty low for the biggest company.
I mean, it's higher than minimum. Props for that. They don't
Yeah.
have to do that, right?
That's
This is
true.
one of those things that the minimum wage is kind of perverse incentive, because the idea that you should be optimizing for price with your employees is really stupid. If you want to great people, you always have to pay them more, right? And that's the way people used to do it in business. You used to be able to it used to be normal that you just got the best people and paid them better than everyone else. Everything, when you start optimizing for price, it's a race to the bottom, and you end up optimizing for the worst possible person. Oh, there's a cardinal outside the window. I didn't even know there were cardinals in
Did you
Texas.
see
That's
these
cool.
ones?
See what? Where are you now?
Just scroll down. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are good for business.
I'm not gonna. No, those are. Everyone has that now because of ESG, and I'm not gonna get into that because that's off topic. But it's very much a. This is a lot of stuff written by the HR department because they have to have it.
Facts about Amazon.
Our impact. Let's see. No. Okay, I'm gonna give them a. I'm gonna give them a C. This is quite a bit better than both or Apple, Microsoft, and Oracle. But I'm not really seeing what I was looking for here. Let's see what the who we are. Leadership principles. Ooh.
Yeah, this is definitely a
No,
lot.
this is leadership principles is a good page. Okay, I'm moving them up to a B. Strive to be Earth's best employer. Oh my God, they're failing miserably. I don't know. I used to know a lot of people that worked at Amazon when I was at Tesla at the factory, and it was literally hell. Like the Amazon factory, I just heard horror stories. They had a dead person in one of the factories in Reno for like a week before they figured it out.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying B. They at least this is really nice. The leadership principles page is as close to philosophy as we've gotten out of anyone so far. So props for that. Who's next? Google. Let's see Google. Oh, how am I even going to find this?
Google.
I'm looking at Google. Let's do Alphabet.
Wait, Google.com just. Oh wait, there's an about.
You can't.
There's
Why
an
would
about
you Google?
tab.
You can't Google.
I did. I can. I found
They
it.
still have the Alphabet page.
Go to about.google.
Okay, I will in a second.
They have community transparency report, accessibility, digital well-being, diversity, inclusion.
They're all the same things. They have generic pages that everyone has to have, right? So
how satisfied am I with this page?
Not. No, this is
very dissatisfied, Google.
This is subpar. No, that one's a
learn more about Google's values and practices.
That's in where?
They're
Where'd you
asking
find
me
that?
if they're asking me follow-up questions.
Oh
Which
yeah, no.
statement best reflects your overall opinion and perspective towards Google? Speak highly without being asked, or don't know enough to have a strong opinion, or speak
How our
critic.
business works. No.
I'm
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh god, they have 2 pages with 2 different footer font sizes on the same website. Jeez, that's awful. Okay, I'm done. Google's pissed me off. Who's next? Who's next?
Tech companies. How about Razer? Have we done
Like
Razer?
the one that makes game
Yeah,
stuff?
Razer.
Okay, let's see. I'm expecting nothing here, just for the record, but we'll see if I'm wrong. Okay. Company about us. About Razer, world's leading lifestyle brand for gamers. The triple-headed snake trademark of Razer is one of the most recognized logos in the global gaming and esports communities. In the global gaming and esports communities, that's not. It should just say in global gaming and esports communities, or in. Yeah, I don't like how that's worded.
What about Z Ventures? I don't know that.
Hold on, I'm still looking at Razer if they have anything. Management team. Sustainability careers, Z Ventures. Now I'm not going deeper. They have nothing here. This is a F.
Oof. I'm gonna send this to them. Clip send.
who? Oh, let's do Meta. Why not?
Oh boy.
About us, who we are. Giving people the power to build community and bring the world closer together because we did so well with Facebook that we just wanted to keep going.
So
Our principle. Okay, they've got principles. Give people a voice. Even when that means defending the right of people we disagree with. Like, no, you don't do that. You censor people, you fucking assholes. Like, build connection and community. This is like they do the opposite of these things. Holy shit. This is insane. This is some 1984 bullshit right here. Build connection and community. Our services help people connect. And when they're at their best, they bring people closer together. When who's at their best? Your services or people? Because no, it's your services they're talking about. Well, they're not at their best. Let's say serve everyone. And our business models ads, so our services can be free. Sure it is. That's why your business model is ads. Keep people safe and protect privacy. That's why when people get doxxed on your platforms, you don't do anything about it. Yeah, okay. Oof. This is they might get a negative score for like actively lying or being deluded. Like this is awful. This man, so here's what I think happened. Our principal, I think that they had somebody tell them what all of the unpopular things were, and then they made specific values to counter them as if that was, or principles, as if that would make up for it. But these are truly bad, like truly bad. These, oh god. Okay, yeah, that might be one of the worst ones I've seen because it's like straight up not true. Please give me a good one. Who else? Who's a big tech company?
Chat, who do you want to look at?
Actually, I have a question. Actually,
Yeah.
that could be interesting. So, we are talking about these are basically code conducts. They are not. Yeah, I don't have a philosophy there yet. I just rebranded. But thank you for bringing it.
Webflow.
So yeah, negative score for not having a philosophy.
I just pulled up his
No,
webpage.
no, they normally you just get an F if you don't have it. They get a negative score for lying. They get the worst score ever issued in the history of Philosophy Club. That was really bad.
And sorry, yeah. So basically, I have a friend, for example, here in Japan that made a mistake, and he broke apparently both the NDA and the code of conduct. Now, for your experience, like, how did the company actually look like? What's the, if you break the code of conduct, what actually is the consequences of doing that? What do you think, not what company, but you can actually, that's an interesting question. What do company actually do, and what company do you think should do? Because you're an expert in this manner, so Very interesting to know.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. So typically, I can't speak for everyone, but from what I understand, I had to write a code of conduct once, which is not fun. Typically, the way that it works is you have a 3-strike process where you get basically a verbal warning, a written warning, and then like a conduct meeting or something with, maybe you have, if it's a bigger company, maybe you have like the HR board or someone that you go and talk to and they try and figure your shit out, right? So that would be normal. And then you typically have a rule called gross misconduct, right? So let's say me and Sam work at Oracle or something, right? I say, hey Sam, your shirt's making you look fat or something. I don't know, whatever. I'd probably get a
Red.
strike for that, right? I'd probably get a verbal warning from my manager. The next day I say, hey Sam,
I'm
your
taking
shoes
over
are
a
ugly.
company. I'm taking
Right.
over
Sure, whatever. No, we'll get to that. But
We've had to do this
I go
for
in.
Triba.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have. Didn't we do it? I thought we did a code of conduct or something
Yeah,
at
we
one point, but
no, I was saying we had to already.
oh yeah, that was another. Yeah, so I've done more than one, I guess. You have the written warning, which goes on your record, right? That's more severe. And then finally, they take you to the board, and they're like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" And if you don't do it, then they fire you, right? That's typically how it works. However, gross misconduct would be like, "Hey, I walk up and punch my manager in the face," or like you know, do any number of really terrible shit. And basically, gross misconduct is a rule. The reason it exists is a way for you to skip the process of going through the steps, right? These rules are relatively subjective a lot of the time, and so it's basically like you need to have rules. Honestly, if people are routinely, I don't know that I would really work with people that had more than 2 strikes. Like everyone can have a mistake. If you do it twice, you're probably gonna do it again. Especially if they're like personal conduct things. Like if you really aren't like behaving well, people typically don't behave well because they suck, not because they're not like they're unsure about how to act. But I don't know. So yeah, so that's normally how they handle it. You have 3 strikes. Maybe there's a 4th one in some senses, but then you have gross misconduct as a way to jump the line and kick you straight out, right? As far as how these are applied, I would say this is one of those things. So I would say typically a code of conduct is more about what not to do than what to do, right? Now, this is one of those things that I think is not really well fleshed out as far as what I would do on it, which is I actually, for one of my clients, for the one that I mentioned earlier, I'm building this out now where I'm trying to build out an onboarding system for the new hires that gets people onboarded into the business's philosophy. Because the way that I've described what my goal is not for people to be fluent in the philosophy. My goal is for people to be able to write poetry in the philosophy, right? Like it's not like you could just like speak French. I want you to be able to write poetry in French that French people think are good, is good, right? So in a perfect world, the way this would work is everybody understands what the values are. You understand what the context of the values are. That would be level 1 and 2, right? You understand what it looks like when the value is used in practice, which would be level 3. But ultimately, I want you to like be able to internalize the values as decision-making tools so that, and this is tricky because you have to really like, you want people to get to the level of like at least conscious competence or unconscious competence, ideally. I've talked about this before probably, but there are basically 4 levels of knowledge, which is unconscious incompetence. I don't know what I don't know. Conscious incompetence. I know that I don't know. Conscious competence. I know that I know. And unconscious competence. I don't know that I know. So the example of this is if you've never tried to play piano, you never thought about it either, you're unconsciously incompetent. You've not thought about the fact that you can't play piano. And we could just pick a more obscure instrument like the bouzouki or something, right? Like if you've never thought about the bouzouki, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you don't know how to play it because you never thought about it. Conscious incompetence is the beginning of learning. When you realize, I don't know how to do this, cool. You're a third of the way there, right? Or a quarter of the way there. And people have a hard time with this one because everyone assumes that they know. Um, they have unconsciously assuming that they're competent, which is different. That's an even lower level of knowledge and more dangerous. But um, conscious competence is like, okay, I have to pay full attention when I'm doing this, and I have to do it in a specific order, but I can do it correctly, right? So if you're like practicing scales on piano or something, you're sitting there and saying, oh, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, right? And then unconscious competence is when you can just like rip, you're not thinking about it, you're just feeling the vibe, and your hands are doing it because you trained your hands to do that, right? That's the goal for all knowledge, is to be unconsciously competent. Part of the reason why I do philosophy club, for me, outside of the fact that I enjoy it, is that my goal is to be able to talk about anything at any time for any length of time unprompted, right? And so I have to come in here every week, and it's easier now than it used to be, but I just basically have to come in here and make up what I'm talking about on the spot every time, and make it make sense, and make it educational, and make it entertaining. And that is training me to get to the point where I can do this without thinking about it, right? So in a perfect world, I'll never get stuck. I'll always have a segue. I'll always have a topic. I'll always have an explanation for things. I won't need to like look things up or reference them, because that was my goal. Is I don't want to be the guy that can practice a speech 100 times and give a perfect speech. I want to be able to give a speech on the spot, no matter what, whenever, right? And I've definitely noticed that in the process of doing this, I've gotten much better at it. So a lot of stuff that maybe 2 years ago when we started would have been not great explanations or long-winded. I've condensed a lot of them down. I've practiced a lot of stuff also with my clients when I'm, going through the sprints and talking about different topics.
Yeah, you've definitely gotten way
What?
better at it. I
Thank
would
you.
agree with that. Yeah, I've seen you now it's like you can just go the whole 2 hours and it's very interesting and engaging. Or I mean
Yeah,
hour. I mean you could go longer.
I could go longer.
That's what she said.
Well, that was the thing. Like when I was younger, when I first started trying to talk to people about philosophy in college, the only way I could do it is if I, waited until everyone was drunk at the end of the party, and it's like 2 a.m. and you're sitting on the porch like chain smoking with your buddies, and then everyone's drunk enough to just kind of relax and let you rant,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was originally when I started my blog. I was like, oh, I'm trying to capture that vibe, which is like what a late night conversation feels like. It's like weird and you talk about cool stuff, but it's fun, and you can't really do that during the daytime. You can't really do that with in like a normal social interaction. And so that's always the direction I'm trying to move in, is like that. That's one of my favorite things in the world, where it's like, oh, I should go to bed and I'm pretty drunk, but we're gonna, the conversation's too good, so it's like 3 o'clock now. We've been talking for a long time. Like that's what I'm trying to capture, because that's something that I like really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'm going to start doing, that I got to figure out how to work this into my schedule, because of course it conflicts with one of my only recurring meetings at that time. But there's Toastmasters, which is if you've never heard of it, is a club organization that does training on public speaking. And so basically the way that it works, I went to one time many years ago with my old business partner, where you go in, people will go up, and some of them have things that they have to, like, some people who like pay dues do parts of it, and then you can go and listen and they teach you stuff, and then everybody has to go at some point. So I went up, and they had whatever the topic was. It was like you had to talk for, it was either 2 or 3 minutes, right? And I went up and made up some bullshit on the spot, and I was like, oh, this was awesome. And I get done, and they're like looking at me, and they're like, you only did like a minute. Because they don't tell you the time until you're done, because you have to like learn to internally time yourself. So they teach you stuff like that, and they have a person who sits there and just has a clicker, and every time you say or ah or like any of those like bullshit words, they count and they tell you about it, right? I think that maybe they like ring a bell or something. So it's like a traumatic stimulus. It's very unpleasant when you do it. So it trains you to speak perfectly, basically. And so with what I saw, I was very impressed. There's a bunch of like, this is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, so it's not like a nice place or anything. It's not like this is like the cream of the crop speakers or anything. But the people that were there, that went regularly, that were members, were awesome. Like they weren't like Tony Robbins, where it's like somebody who's both talented and skilled, but they were good speakers, right? Everybody was good, like well above average, even when they're naturally, like some of them were just not naturally like speaking people. And so that's the thing. I'm going to start doing that now, because I figure if I can learn how to do all of it perfectly, that will make me amazing. Whereas right now, I think I'm pretty good, right? So I'm really bad at the like little bullshit words. I forget what they call them. See, I just did it again. One of the things that they say to do,
Do you
not
want me to
them
use
specifically.
a beeper?
Please don't. I can't. My little heart can't take it. Not in philosophy club. This is where I come to just
Say
rules, but
yeah.
no. One of the things that they do, or that people encourage you to do as a speaking thing, though, is instead of saying those things, just pause. There's a thing that happens where if you pause instead of saying like or ah or whatever, it makes you sound very serious all of a sudden. And it really starts to change the pace, right? And you can see I'm kind of doing this. There's I'm going to share 2 TED Talks. One of them is a fake TED Talk and one of them is a real TED Talk, but they're both fake TED Talks. And they basically explain exactly how it works when you're doing everything right and why people do TED Talks the way that they do TED Talks. That one, the first one is very funny. That's a classic, but this one is the same thing, except it's a real TED Talk. I don't know who did it first, actually, but
it is okay to be so stressed.
Maybe the TED Talk guy did it first, and the other one's just a joke. But it's basically the same thing.
When your YouTube ad popping up is real therapy, BetterHelp.com.
Okay, so wait, let's
Chuckles
get back
nervously.
Let's get back to Webflow. So okay, they're already.
Oh, we're not gonna watch.
No, you guys can watch that in your free time.
Okay.
But I would recommend at least the first one. They're both very good. So first off, they have a vision.
Oh, we need to switch over to the camera.
That first, actually, you scroll all the way up. We're bringing development superpowers to everyone looks like a pretty good mission statement. I mean, it's not a perfect mission statement, but I assume that's their mission statement, which is pretty good. Go to vision. They have a vision. That's really good. That's technically more of a mission because the vision is what you get out of the mission. That's kind of like to build is a mission statement, right? That's a little bit weird. Core values, but they have values crossed out and say behaviors. That's a plus for that. That is phenomenal because with the only exception, the values actually inform behaviors. So I don't think it's necessary, but I understand what they were going for, and I think that is an A plus for the premise.
High praise.
To turn values into action through our 4 core behaviors. Obsess over customer experience. Move with heartfelt urgency. Oh, that's poetry right there. That's beautiful. Say the hard thing with care and make your mark. These are all excellent, because you know what they mean when they say these. It doesn't mean not, oh, we value responsibility. Like, what the fuck does that mean, right? These are very clear. You know what these mean. Excellent.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So A plus for them, because look, out of everything that we looked at today, these are the only ones that had it done properly at all. There's slight things I would have like tweaked here, but A plus. That is awesome. Let's see Figma.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I bet Figma's is amazing. I just have a strong feeling because they're so good. Oh, did they even have a corporate website?
Figma.com?
No, it's about Figma.com/about.
Oh.
Creative tools meet the internet. That's clever.
A light bulb went off. Good tools.
Okay,
for
you can just
designers
start
be built
scrolling. This is a kind of a weird.
Ooh. Wee.
Okay,
I love sideways websites. What? You can do that in Figma?
No, they're just showing. Maybe you could. Like, I'm not at this point. There's so many plugins. You probably could. Yeah. Okay, wait. So these look like values to me. We look forward to a future where design is even more collaborative, borderless, transparent, community-driven, and open-sourced.
Where are you? How far down did you go? Collaborative,
yeah,
borderless.
That looks like values. The next one is vision. So let me know when you get through that. Our vision is
To what?
make
Oh.
design accessible to everyone. So the only thing with vision, I would say our vision is a world where design is accessible to everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a B plus. This page is a little bit obnoxious, but it's very well built. I really hate scroll effects like that, where you get stuck scrolling through something. I really, really don't like those from a UX perspective. But
You said B plus?
Yeah.
All right. We got
I would
Figma
have
and
liked to have
Webflow.
seen. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen more philosophy than this. And our story, is that the same? Yeah, our story is the about page, or that link is broken.
Gosh.
No, it's the about page. So that's confusing UX. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a little bit lacking. This is a gorgeous page, but I would have liked to have seen more here. Oh, let's see Adobe.
Ah.
Let's see. Low expectations. Okay. About Adobe. Changing the world through digital experiences. Great experiences have the power to inspire, transform, and move the world forward. And every great experience starts with the Adobe Creative Suite. Just kidding, because it's a terrible experience.
Every great experience in the world? It's a bold statement, Adobe.
Creativity is in our DNA.
I believe it's
I don't know about
pronounced DNA.
democratized
Don't tell me what I know, Travis. Nobody? That's from Zootopia? No? Okay.
I haven't seen that. I didn't watch that.
You haven't seen Zootopia? Oh my gosh.
No. Okay, let's see. So these maybe values: creativity for all, empowering digital businesses. That's not really accelerating document productivity. Grown.
I wonder how many people have looked at this unless they were like about to do an interview for an Adobe position.
That's the problem, is people don't look at these because they're not like, they're just like disembodied things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not super pleased with this. I feel like they tried. No, and those link out to
What about
products. So
empowering digital businesses?
empowering is the worst word
it's
in
just
the
going to the
word
cloud
in the history of
solution.
all things. Empowering and synergy they mean nothing.
Correct, Tabalo.
I can confirm Adobe has not empowered my digital business at all.
No, they don't. They disempower.
But when combined, if you empower synergy, that is that.
Oh my God, empowering synergy through
Until the end of aeons.
Democratized B2B consumer-based productivity solutions,
Dude,
internationally and globally.
I'm pretty sure empowering synergy is just called yeeting. That's what yeeting means.
In certain cultures, yes.
Who's next? Tabalo, give me a company.
Like one that I think would be good.
We already did Oracle.
Oh, really? Theirs is probably.
It was yeah. They had nothing at all. So
do Palantir.
Oh yeah, wait. I think we did Palantir already.
How do you
Theirs
spell
is a very cool
Palantir?
website,
Oh, it's
though.
IR. Okay.
Oh, they have a different website than they did before. This is a pretty good website. I bet they won't have anything, just simply because they
What about we build software that empowers organizations to effectively integrate their data, decisions, and operations?
God, you can't empower. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all.
Don't you feel empowered just reading it, though?
I feel empowered when I get mad about empowered as a word.
We believe in augmenting human intelligence, not in replacing it.
I fuck with that. Thanks, Peter Thiel. That is actually separate. That is not necessarily as a business philosophy point, but as an AI point, A plus. Okay, let's see. With good data and the right technology, people and institutions still hard. Blah, blah, blah. What do we do? Products for human-driven analysis of real-world data. That's actually very concise, world's best user experience for working with data. It says empowers again. Mission-driven engineering.
Our mission is to have a mission. Who was it who
Yeah,
did that?
mission-driven is one of those.
Marcy?
Mission-driven is one of those things that like I take a lot of. What's the phrase? Take
it with a grain of salt.
umbrage.
There was one.
Yeah, it's I take a lot of umbrage with that. That's the word.
Meaning
Offend.
You remember when
Upset or
that one
offended.
person who shall be named had a value that their business value was value? That got me.
It's one of those things.
We value
Value is perception.
It's deep. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Beneath
There's
the
a
problems
bee.
where they live. Our customers have data and a deep understanding.
Gotham.
Okay, so this is the thing that I like about this is it is actually pretty fleshed out, and they explained everything at 3 levels of resolution. You have a headline, you have the statement, you have an explanation, which is good. That's good practice. Where we're going, I think, is functionally the vision section, which is pretty good. I'm going to give them an A. I'm going to give them an A, not an A plus because it's not flawless, but this is.
Oh, such a hard critic.
What are all these little
Yeah.
numbers on the side? Oh, it's the navigation.
Yeah,
It's glitchy,
it's
but kind of cool.
it's glitchy. They just got a new website. Everything.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I don't really like
sleek.
that animation, but yeah, no, I'd say that's an A for them. They pretty much hit important stuff. Who else?
Dude, I feel like half the people are going to scroll down before this thing loads.
Oh, let's do TikTok.
I
Oh,
don't
no.
think they care.
Let's do the CCP's homepage.
Yeah. All right. TikTok.com/about. Our mission. TikTok is the leading destination for short form mobile video. Our mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy for the Chinese Communist Party and its subsidiaries.
Dude, this is what they want us to be,
That's
that
it?
cat. They want us to be that cat. They want us to be...
That's it. That's all they have is just a mission
That's
statement.
it. That's the end of the
Oof.
about page.
That's all we
man.
need to know.
Yeah. I'm going to say that is a...
Do they get lower than Meta? That is the question.
No, I mean,
Drum
that's a
roll.
D+. That's a D+. They did one thing correct, and that was the only thing they did. So I'd rather them do this than do...
At least they didn't lie
Have you
about
done Twitter?
everything.
Twitter. Okay, let's see.
Bring joy. So what about using those like abstract terms like joy?
Again, well, I'm allergic to abstract stuff personally. I think you make it tangible, make it concrete, make it emotional, make it explain figurative somewhere,
Oh my
like
gosh.
but like convey something. Either convey a feeling or convey a fact, but don't convey something that feels like a fact. Oh, I'm gonna tweet that.
Well, I clipped it so I can make it into a TikTok. Twitter is what's happening and what people are talking about right now. I don't know if they're talking about themselves or what happens on the platform. Okay, go to
Nice.
Twitter.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I want to see about Twitter.
One more tweet, then it's bedtime. Good one, Twitter.
This is a pretty fun website design. And again, I really don't care for these scrolling effects, but this is not the worst one that I've seen where it's not scrolling for 10 page lengths of scroll. We serve the public conversation. That's why it matters to us that people have a free and safe place to talk. So this still has Jack Dorsey on here, so I can tell you this is from before Elon took over. Life's not about a job; it's about purpose. About the company.
Don't get a job. Spend your time on Twitter.
Yeah, really healthy
Changing
conversations.
the world.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a
Twitter for good. Wait, there's a Twitter for good.
That doesn't mean what you think it's going to mean.
Dude, why is their text
Google
so
used to have a thing
squashed?
where their main value is like do no evil, something like
That-
that. Or don't be evil.
Don't be evil. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
legitimately.
That sounds like a parent talking to their child. Like, don't be bad. Don't be bad.
Well, no, don't be evil was great. That was the gold standard. And then when they became Alphabet, they changed it to do the right thing. That was bad. That was when they became evil, right? So that in a roundabout way, Google doing that is the thing that may have gotten me into the thought of business philosophy in the first place. Because I remember when I was little, I was like, oh my God, don't be evil. That's great. And then when they changed it, I was like, this is bad. I knew, because that was in the mid 2010s, right? I was like, this is bad. This is really bad. Why would you change that? That's a black and white.
See, the devil's advocate in me wants to ask, though, but Garrett, isn't it right? Isn't it good to do the evil thing sometimes?
No, everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. Every person in the history of the world, with very few exceptions, who's done bad things has thought they were doing the right thing. And all of the worst things that are, especially at scale, are done by people thinking they're doing the right thing. The Cultural Revolution, the Holocaust, any other genocide or, political revolution, stuff you care to name, everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. I'm much more concerned with someone that thinks they're a good person than someone who thinks they're a bad person, right? Most people do not have the ability to process the possibility that they might be the bad person, right? Do you ever see hold on, I got another video for this one. And then I'm going to wrap.
Yeah, it's at 10 after, so we got to wrap it up here in a minute.
Yeah. I'm sharing this in the co-working lounge. If you probably have seen this meme before, it's basically two guys who are like SS stormtroopers or whatever. They're like, are we the baddies? Are we the bad? We've got like skulls on our uniforms and we're burying bodies or whatever, right? Which is pretty funny. But yeah, all right. So to wrap things up today, there's a lot more people. I didn't see anyone come in. Thank you all for coming out. Your business's philosophy is important. It really is. If you notice, the likelihood of a company being good today is, from what we've seen, the better companies have better articulated philosophies. We've done this, probably a dozen times, this event format, and it is almost always the case that the best companies have the best philosophy. The companies that have better philosophy do better than their competitors. Is across the board. This is almost always the case. I don't know that I've ever found a really profound example of the opposite. And I would say Apple's a good example of perhaps the best company that just doesn't articulate it. I have to imagine that they have a booklet internally that has all of the stuff. And I think I've heard about this. I know Meta has one. They have like the Facebook book that you get. It's like a 100-page thing that you get when you start there, and it goes through a lot of the philosophy stuff. So that would be the exception to this rule. But in my opinion, you should certainly have a version of your philosophy that is for public consumption, because why not? Why wouldn't you, right? Like, you should tell people about why you make decisions and how you do things. It's important. But yeah, outside of that, if you haven't thought about your philosophy, you should. It's important. It will make your life better. It will make the lives of the people around you better as well. So that's it.
Increase your impact as well, because you're able to communicate more effectively with coherent philosophy and branding. That's a large part the reason that Triba has been as successful as it has been, because Garrett helped us very early on. I remember sitting in the co-working space and WeWork and just, hashing out potential names and going through all the values of what we thought a collaborative business community could look like. And it became Triba. So all that has paid off immensely. Doing it early is better than doing it later, because it's scalable. It's something we've just been able to easily put out everywhere and increase our reach and awareness. Oh man.
Go team.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's 11 after. It's 1:11. Make a wish, guys. And we will see you tomorrow for our social media updates, and make sure you check out Tribe of Gold if you want to help support the community. We also got lots of cool stuff that comes with that. It's in the top left hand side of the server, and we also want to give a shout out to our recent subs Let me just go through the list here. I know we got Garrett on there as well as Tabalo and Anthony. Let's see, did Clara's gold verified as well? Congratulations, Clara. Welcome to the club. So is Samantha and Anthony. I don't think Anthony is right now yet, but shout out to everybody who's been supporting the community, hanging out in the chat, and being part of these events. They're really fun. I enjoy doing them. I know Garrett has too. And if you want to do something like this and you want to run something, hit me up. We can figure out a time and the best way for you to contribute. Anyways, that's it for today. We'll catch you next time on Triba.
Later, y'all.
Triba trailer. Roll trailer.